mining zone where you're having trees that are dying standing up, where the silt that sheets off the mining zone starts to choke the roots of the trees that are around there. So you're starting to basically get thinning of the forest. The last time I could get into La Pampa, this was all 200-foot high trees.
Oh, really?
With jaguars and monkeys and everything.
Oh my God.
Oh, look at it.
Oh my God.
We've arrived.
Oh my God. Wow.
Welcome to the forest, my friends. This was a forest 3 years ago.
How long ago?
3 years ago.
3 years ago. Wow.
This was high forest. This, my friend, is the hot. The ponds here are where the mercury accumulates because everything runs off into the low point on the landscape, which are the ponds, and also this is where the mercury concentrate is dumped into it during the mining process.
This is a place where the Peruvian National Police and the Peruvian military have just evicted tens of thousands of miners, about 30,000.
What's interesting about being here too is that we're essentially on a shoreline with a small lake, or not so small lake. And this is something that's really interesting because here about 3 years ago, this was just forest. There were no ponds, there were no lakes. This is the remnant of the mining activity. So one of the big questions that we have here is, what are these lakes? And what's the basic biodiversity? We see that there's waterfowl starting to stop here. In areas that are a little closer to forests, we see migratory songbirds in some cases that are starting to either directly eat fish from here or eat the emergent insects as they go into riparian areas.
When people think about restoration, we're often thinking about relatively small areas or areas that are relatively homogeneous or areas that at least you could make homogeneous. And these areas, depending on where we are, we can look down from above and see that they're going to be kind of 1 out of every 6 hectares to maybe even 1 out of every 3 hectares is water. So you have to think about that. And there's a lot of swamps that were in these areas originally, and some of them are incredibly important producers of food for both wildlife and people.
We're just starting to do the first studies to understand what the characteristics of this landscape is. Because I think that's going to be critical information for understanding what the next steps are for adaptation.